I did not hit record on the audio the first time that I filmed this, or the second time. Hey there, I'm Terry. I'm not gonna lie, it feels a bit weird and a little bit different doing a video like this, but hey, you gotta start somewhere, right? Which is also kind of a crazy thing to say because I feel like I've been doing media for such a long time, just not in this context, but I guess context is everything. So I wanted to take a few moments before I just start putting up videos to talk about who I am, where I've come from, and a bit about this mission that I have that continues to develop as time really goes on. So first off, who am I? I'm someone that has been involved in ministry around churches in one way or another for many years, over like 10 years actually. I love small business. I love personal development. I love leadership. I love podcasts. I love design, fan of the small details. But as far as how do we get right here on YouTube making this awkward first video, let me bring you up to speed. I kind of stumbled into the church world by accident, definitely in an unconventional way. It was actually through radio that I started to work in and alongside different churches, which is strange how radio was really that bridge for me. I think it was back in 2011. I literally just had gotten my very first job when I had another job opportunity come up to work as part of like the promotions team at a radio station. So think those people that you see who set up like the tent and give out stickers at concerts and events. True story, if you are a fan of Christian music, the very first event that I ever did was a sold out Hawk Nelson concert back when they had Jason Dunn as their lead singer. It was pretty awesome. I did that for a few years until one day the station manager pulled me into his office and he goes, "Terry, I hate it. I hate it so much, but the producer has decided to go on paternity leave, which means that the late night DJ has to become the producer. So I'm wondering if you want to become the radio DJ," to which I immediately was like, no. Then when I went home, I thought about it more and more. I felt like it was something that I needed to do. So I started doing late night radio at a station just north of Toronto, Ontario called Life 100.3. Little did I know I would go on to do that show until there was like a big station change almost a decade later. So literally all throughout my 20s, I would drive into work throughout the day, do a radio show at night from 7 to 11. Throughout those years, I learned so much. I learned a lot about effective communication. I learned a lot about people, leadership. I worked along many churches and really was able to gain a great perspective on a lot of things that people in ministry go through on a day-to-day basis. But how do we go from radio to video? Well, a few years after, I started doing radio, someone in the video department needed help and they asked me if I wanted to try doing some video stuff. So I said, sure, that sounds like fun. The only thing, it wasn't really fun. I remember I had to edit on this like piece of crap laptop with, I think it was called Premiere Elements at the time. Wasn't very good, pretty tough. So if you have ever edited video, you know what it's like to do like the whole zoom in, zoom out thing on these like tiny little laptop screens trying to keyframe things. That was me, but it was definitely a start. And I eventually went on to do a lot of random video things. I feel like that's the path for most video people, a lot of random trial and error videos. I did music videos with a camera that I had no autofocus on. So I was like manually trying to focus on the subject. I had this one music video actually, if I can find some footage, I'll put it up here, where I thought it'd be a cool idea to drive my Jeep in this building and use the headlights to like light the musicians. I was like, this is gonna look so cool. I'm gonna love this. I didn't think of this thing called carbon monoxide though. And so I remember like I drove the vehicle in there. I like shut the door and everything like that. And the lead singer comes in. He was dead serious. He was like, "Are you trying to kill us? Are you trying to kill us?" So yeah, that was a bit of an awkward like attempt at a music video. So no one did die. So that's good. And I still got paid. So you live and you learn. Anyway, I then started doing wedding videos on the side, which I feel everyone does. And that turned into me working alongside my now wife, who is not only a pastor, but also an incredible photographer. So I would go do like weddings with her on the weekend. All that to say, definitely been a ride for sure. There's been a lot of ups, definitely a lot of downs, which I think personally has made me better. And I think we could all benefit from the lessons that, I've gone through and learned. I have this belief that is really fundamental to who I am, that you and I are blessed to be a blessing in whatever it is that we do. And we are here for a reason, for a purpose. Like I specifically talking from a ministry standpoint, and this ties into like the mission portion that I was talking about a little bit earlier. I do not believe that we are called to be people who stand on the sidelines as life happens to us. I believe believe that we are all called to be people who take action, which is what I named my my podcast after, like the Church Acts podcast. I think that's always been who the church is, you know, people who take action. So that's why I'm going to start doing more long form content on here, because I've learned a lot and have a lot to share. I know there is so much for me to learn. So if you keep hanging out, it's probably going to be pretty awkward for a bit as I get a hang of things, but I think we could definitely grow together. I've come a long way since the days of doing wedding videos and radio and trying to kill people with carbon monoxide. I now host a podcast that I mentioned that is about to cross over the 100 episode mark that I might start filming, sharing here. I run a small business that helps churches in the US with video announcements called announcements.church. So maybe I'll do some little tutorial videos. I got some big plans, so many things that have taught me a lot of lessons that I hopefully look forward to sharing with you in the future. So hey, if you made it this far, thanks for hanging out. I look forward to start bringing you some content that will hopefully help you in your leadership with your church as we do this thing called life together. So until next time, God bless.